Yay, welcome to our training. It's hump day. That's all I got to say. Getting into the next hump of the week, and that's all about progress. Lots of progress, moving parts in real estate investing. Just currently button up my short-term rental and have a rehab going on at the same time, and just multiple things moving. And always offering, always in the trenches, running numbers and making offers, because that's what real estate investing is all about, right? At least in my life, anyways. And that's what I teach my clients. So today I really wanted to jump in here. Hopefully you're having a fabulous day. I saw a quote from Wayne Dyer. And those of you that don't know who Wayne Dyer is, please look him up. He's amazing and in all his endeavors. But he's very spiritual, and he brought in, if I can requote it, if you change the way you look at things, it changes the way you see things. Now, it sounds a little profound, and you're like, what does that mean, Joanna? In the real estate world, let me just give you some reference, right? In the real estate world, if you change the way you look at a property, you could see the gold, right? So most people walk past properties all day long and they don't even see the gold that they're walking past. And until you have a trained eye, and this is what I'm teaching my clients to do, right? Like what to look for and how to focus in a specific area, because we can go blindly down the streets of gold, right? Not even seeing opportunity, because we've walked past it so many times, or you've lived your life all this time without understanding real estate investing, so it doesn't even come into your brain that there might be a possibility there. And then for some of you, it may be like, well, I think, and you have a possibility, right? Like now your eyes are opened a little bit and you're like, that could be a deal, but I don't know how to structure it. I don't know how to talk to the seller, right? So I wanted to go over the types of properties, the types of strategies, and like how to create a deal, to create cash flow. I really wanted to dive into that today because, well, quite frankly, ditch the bank, for crying out loud. Just ditch the bank and let's get creative. But you can't get creative if you don't know the story and if you don't know the different parts that are out there that you can use as, like a bunch of Lego parts or a jigsaw puzzle, right? Like you're looking at this big wall of jigsaw puzzles, and some have the big pieces, some have the really teeny tiny pieces, right? 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle. And you're trying to put this little piece to this big piece, and like it doesn't fit. Well, that's what you saw on Google or saw on YouTube, right? You've been Google tubing all this time and going, well, they said to do this, for wholesale. They said to do this at buy and hold or fix and flip, or, and I'm trying to do it and it's just not working. Well, that's because you need a step-by-step, right? And I found out that this works best for my clients to stay in the step that you're in until you get it. And then you go take that step and you move it into the next step. But you don't know it until you have been given guidance, right? So what you've been Google tubing is not guidance. It's just informational. Okay, so let's apply some structure to it. Okay, so today we're going to be going over types of properties, strategies, and how to cash flow. So I'm going to share my screen real quick for you guys. Make sure I have that pulled up. Bom, bom, bom. Types of properties and strategies. Now, there might be a lot listed here, so don't get overwhelmed when I share my screen. Just stay with me on it, okay? Yes, I have some windows open. It's all good. So what I want to go over is, obviously the types of properties. There's single family, multifamily, commercial, land, and industrial, right? Those are the different types. What do they mean to you? So if you're wanting to cash flow, create cash, you definitely want to be in a cash flowing category. Land is not a cash flowing category. Now, can you flip it in wholesale? Yes, you can, and create a one-time transition of cash. But if you actually purchase cash, it's a lot, or purchase land, it's a liability. So you're going to be paying taxes. A liability means you're paying out money, right? So don't think land is a good deal unless you need a tax break and you need to lose money. Okay. So this is it's a tax strategy that my CPA pointed out. If you're wanting to adjust your taxes, these are some strategies for you. If you are looking to create cash flow, that is not a strategy for you, right? So you want single family residence or multifamily, right? Small multifamily. That is, let me just type that in there, is 5 units and up is multifamily, okay? And is considered commercial. So you can see here it's apartments, but I wanted to highlight it separately because a lot of people get confused on what multifamily is. And I hear people saying, well, I'm going to go do multifamily. I'm like, oh, okay, are you looking about 30 units? They're like, oh, no, just like a duplex or a threeplex. And I'm like, that's not multifamily. So from a lender's perspective, it is a single family residence, okay, with 3 doors or 2 doors, or but it is not considered multifamily in the lender's world. Okay, so a little educational piece for you there. Those of you, it might be a little elementary too. I apologize for that, but I really want to start from the ground and work my way through this so that everybody gets it, right? So stick with me here. Multifamily units, some people would say, well, small multifamily. So that would be 4 units and under, right? Once you hit 5 units, it's commercial, and it is deemed commercial in the lender's world, and you get different type of financing in the lender's world, right? Whereas if it's 4 units and under, that's a consumer loan, and they're a little bit tougher to get, right? They need like 2 years work history, 2 years taxes, they need all this documentation, and you need a personal guarantee on all of that, right? Commercial, and believe it or not, it's a little bit easier if you go up a little bit, like 10, 12, and even 20 units. It's based off of the asset, the income. So most of the qualification comes in from the income of that building. Okay. So, and I'm going to tell you some creative ways. So hang on with me. I'm going to tell you some creative ways how to acquire these. So you're not having to deal with the bank. Okay. But just so that you guys understand the different types of properties, there's single family, multifamily, commercial, right? And commercial is apartments. It could be land, retail, depends on the size, the acreage, right? It can get agricultural, which I listed here, land is agricultural. So there's a little bit of a mix in there of what things are considered, but definitely churches, theme parks, schools, marinas, like all of that stuff is all retail properties. That's a commercial. Any office parks, oh, and storage, self-storage facilities. That was something I wanted to get into as well, as we were looking at that for the not just the market occupancy or the market rate or the cash flow of it, but also the economics of it, right? Like, so understanding the difference of the value of the property versus the value of the cash flow is what I'm trying to reach for you guys. Okay, so this is another income strategy one that's really good. So you have, if you're choosing here, single family, multifamily, that's 5 units and up, right? And self-storage facilities. Stay away from land and agricultural or industrial, because those are not there to give you money. You have to be in a specific field for that. If you're just starting in real estate investing, don't go near those. Okay, stick with cash flowing. So when you're in a rural area, things cost more because it's harder to get stuff there, right? When you're in city center, it's like buying in bulk. Things are a dime a dozen. So it is a lot easier to land and play with single family and small multi-family, right? And even storage units, if you want to jump into that, because they're more of a dime a dozen. They're easy cash flow properties, and that's what people are looking for. More people are playing that game, so it's easier to wholesale, fix and flip, or buy and hold, which those are type of exit strategies, right? Those are the only things you get to choose from that in money lending. So hopefully this is helpful for you guys. Let me know if you're having value, any type of value in the comments. Go ahead and type value. I would appreciate it. And what you would like to hear more of, so that I can get that to you, right? Any questions, just type in the comments. So type of acquisitions, right? These are examples, just a few examples. Wholesale can be considered, or co-wholesale, as someone labeled. So co-wholesale is where people, you have a wholesaler that has buyers, you have a wholesale that has a property, and they decide to come together and they split the commission, right? You're co-wholesaling. So that's a way to leverage yourself. So wholesalers are awesome when they know how to do their job, which is why I train on that as well, because I really want them to bring a great deal to the table. So these are types of acquisitions. The BRRRR strategy is also considered a buy and hold strategy, right? And that's part of the exit strategies. These are the ones that you get to work from: wholesale, fix and flip, buy and hold, and money lending, right? So if you want to wholesale, that is also a way to acquire it and exit. So it actually has two purposes, okay? You can acquire with it and exit with it. The BRRRR strategy, which is to buy, to rehab, to rent, to refinance, and then repeat. It's 5 steps, right? 5 steps. Let me go over that real quickly. So buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and repeat. Okay, so those who need that visual, writing it down, there you go. Putting that together is just another buy and hold strategy, right? So you have the tenant paying down the note. Okay, so in my creative acquisition side, you could actually get a hold of a property with, seller financing or subject to, create a note. You can actually defer the payments for 90 days, or I've done as much as 12 months, right? So you can defer the payments. This gives you a chance to rehab it and rent it out, and you're not having to pay on the note, right? And then by the time the note is due for payment after the 12 months or 90 days or 6 months, whatever you choose in the creative acquisition side of it, you refinance out of it. And so here you've got a property, no money down, completely rehabbed, right? You can get a private money on rehab. So I know you're probably asking, well, how do I get the rehab costs? Multiple ways that you can get that, okay? But this is a way to go in there with acquiring a property with no money down, and then you could either get a private money lender, or you could do a hard money lender, refinance on that loan, getting the rehab done on it, right? So getting this into play is pretty simple. It's pretty simple, and the process is pretty unbeatable, right? The BRRRR strategy is so popular: to buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and repeat. That's how you build your portfolio, adding value to properties, okay? There's also multiple creative ways of doing this. And here's what's the hang up right now is the rates have changed, right? So people, investor friends of mine that were in the middle of doing a BRRRR, some of their numbers didn't make any sense anymore, right? Because the rate changed. So when they go to refinance it, it's no longer a cash flowing property. So there was a lot of twists and turns and pivots, as we all learn to do, right? To pivot. And that's all we do as real estate investors. And this is why I'm here today, giving you all this content so that you can see the different ways, the different strategies, the different types, the creative ways, right? So that you can close on real estate yourself, regardless of the market. Because that's all we do as real estate investors is we pivot. We're on a constant pivot, depending on, did COVID happen? Did the rates go up? Is it an up market? Is it a down market? What is going on is what dictates how our real estate strategy goes, right? So we don't ever stop buying and selling. We never stop buying and selling. Let me repeat that one more time. We never stop buying and selling. We're always in the trenches, always doing another deal. Okay. So with that being said, we're not afraid of the market. We're educated on the market. So some people may say, I hear this all the time, I'm going to wait till the market goes down and then I'm going to buy. Wow, you just missed out on so much opportunity these last couple of years, right? If you had bought when you said 2, 5, even 10 years ago, you're like, I'm still waiting for the market to go down. So here's my statement. Buy real estate now, then wait to sell it, right? Not wait to buy it. And that, buy real estate, then wait. Don't wait to buy real estate. That's the saying. Okay. So hopefully that's helpful for you guys. Let me see you here in the comments. Let me know if that was helpful. Sometimes I could be a little confusing if I'm talking to a wall here. Let me check, make sure we're on here. And just let me know like the value you're getting or the questions that you may have so that I can help you out there. Corey's watching. Hey, Magda, how you doing? All right, cool. So the types of acquisition are pretty important. I mean, there's more ways to do this. I'm just giving you examples so you can see it can be a little confusing. So I'm trying to put some structure here for you, okay? Lease option is also a way, but that's an acquisition, but it could be a wholesale or a buy and hold. So as a lease option, if you get a hold of a property that's owned by somebody else, and then you come in and you lease it, and you set up the option with a renter to buy, that is a sort of a wholesale version of lease option. Another way lease option happens is if you actually buy the property, have the property, and then you put somebody in there with a rent to buy lease option, right? Now, I know you can't say rent to buy in Texas and some other states, but lease option is basically a rent to buy, okay? And you could do it with other people's properties and you could do it with your own properties. Same thing with short-term rental, right? The whole Airbnb scenario. The whole Airbnb scenario is you can get a hold of a landlord who's trying to rent, and you could be the master renter on it and do the short-term rental, right? Or you can own property, which is the buy and hold version. So do you see how there's always a wholesale, a flip, a buy and hold version? The exit strategies exist everywhere, right? How you acquire them is all these fancy terms that people have made up, right? The BRRRR strategy, it's buy and hold, wholesale, right? Lease option, it could be wholesale or buy and hold. Short term, same thing. So just take that to heart and know where you want to be. Do you want to build a portfolio? Because that's what we're all about here in Retire Early Through Real Estate Investing, is to build a portfolio so that you can retire when you desire, right? Live the life that you want, have the time freedom, and create that generational wealth that most are looking for. At least everybody in here anyways, right? And you just like, how do I get started, Joanna? And so that's why I do my get starting trainings so that you can get those answers. So the type of exit strategies is wholesale, fix and flip, buy and hold, and money lending, right? That's the only thing you get to choose from. So in my getting started training, it is about choosing your market and your exit strategy, how to find deals, how to analyze them, and building your team, how to create that team, right? Because none of this happens by yourself. You need a team. And sometimes you just plug into a team, and sometimes you have to create a team, right? So there's different ways of doing that well. And then, of course, how to fund them, how to fund your deals. These are all steps that are in my trainings. And we're going over this so that you can see how I get my creative brain. So we're about ready to step into that. Okay. So hang in there with me just a second here in closing. So the different types of ways to create a deal is through appreciation, depreciation, cash flow, and amortization. Okay. And then the cash flow, this is also the cash out. So an example of how that works is the BRRRR strategy. Okay. So let's just say that you got a hold of, now listen to this part because it could happen every single day of the week, right? You find a property and you don't have the funds to purchase it. You could actually get someone who has funds all day long. This is what I teach, how to find the cash, right? And marry the two together. So now, why would anybody do that? Why would anybody do that? They want to do it because they either need a tax break, right? They need to put their cash somewhere, like hide it from taxes. And people do this all day long, or they're wanting to grow their money, right? So they do it for an interest and return on investment. And that's the main purpose of people doing that. But people also say, I don't want, a lot of people think I have to split it 50-50. No, you don't. You could choose to give them the depreciation of the property while you take all the cash flow of the property, right? And it's a win-win. That's what they're looking for. Now, please, red alert here. We do not buy on appreciation. We do not buy expecting it to appreciate. We only buy on today's market numbers. That's it. If it makes sense today, it'll make sense tomorrow. If it doesn't make sense today and you're hoping it'll make sense tomorrow because of appreciation, you're in the wrong business. That's a gamble, total gamble. You're going all in on number two. Don't do it, right? So, but it is one of the ways that that you can create the deal, right? You can say, I will give you whatever appreciation happens in the next 3 to 5 years, right? That could be totally doable. Someone can be a part of it for 5% of appreciation, right? And maybe 5% of cash flow. The amortization portion of it is, if you ever got a bank loan before, it's typically amortized over 30 years. Okay, so you take those numbers and you amortize it over 30 years. You can go to bankrate.com and figure out those numbers. It's a calculator, and figure out what the amortization is on a $250,000 loan or $1 million loan, whatever it may work. So there's different ways in creating the deal to make it profitable for everybody. Not everybody wants the same thing. And that's what makes it great to have a whole bunch of investors that you work with, because some want the cash flow, some want the depreciation, and some want to say that a percentage of the equity, right? That happens a lot in commercial buildings, apartment buildings. They say, I want, 1% of the equity. I'm a part of it. So it's how you look at it that makes the difference, right? One may see gold, one may see nothing. If you went into a gold mine, you may walk past gold as it only looks like a rock. It takes someone with experience to recognize that you're sitting on a gold mine, and here's the way to make it work. Just like I said in the beginning, When you're walking down the street, you're walking past all these houses, you're walking past gold. You're walking past gold. And you don't see it until you get next to somebody like me, right? That does creative real estate investing, not just investing, not just in one way, not just in mobile homes or flipping or, wholesaling, not just in one way, but in multiple ways, right? Because if you can learn multiple ways of real estate investing, now we all have a bullseye, right? I have my clients get out the dartboard and their bullseye may be wholesale, but because they're learning creative acquisitions, they're still going to make money on the board, right? On the dartboard, if they do a flip or buy and hold. And vice versa. If their bullseye is buy and hold, there's nothing that says they can't wholesale that property if it makes better sense. So this is why I drill into my clients. We need to know the story. You can't just send me an address. We need to know the story of the property, of the seller, and your story. What do you want the story to end like, right? Or begin, right? So this is so important to build team because you could use other people's money, knowledge, experience, and time. These are all ways to leverage your real estate investing. You can leverage realtors, hard money lenders, private money lenders, mentors, people with experience like myself that can structure a deal for you. And then time, right? So we have the REI lead generator that helps with generating leads and a pipeline process. So it's step by step. So you look like a pro coming out of the gate. So there's different ways to leverage. So here's what I'm going to invite you to do. I'm going to invite you to type in the comments, let me know, first of all, if you got value out of this, right? Out of this description of the types of properties and strategies so that you can do this yourself, right? I'm going to stop sharing here. So that you can start doing this yourself and stop Google tubing, right? Just stop Google tubing. Type plan in the comments. Type plan, PLAN, in the comments, and my team will reach out to you to set up a time to get a real estate plan. Like, how does this work for you? Let's map it out. What have you got to lose? It's totally free. And it'll bring whatever you were thinking about real estate to the table. We'll put it all on the table and we'll sort it out for you, right? Just reach out and let's put down a plan. So type plan in the comments and get yourself going on real estate, because now is the time to do real estate. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, today. It's always today, right? Every day is today is the day. Is it one day or is this day one for you? Type plan in the comments and I look forward to meeting you and getting to know your story and how you want real estate to benefit you. I hope you guys have a fabulous week and I'll see you in the next training. Bye.